On June 27, 2015, over 1,000 young people gathered at the Formosa Fun Coast Water Park in New Taipei for a fun experience at the Color Powder Party. As night fell and the party reached its high point, people danced under showers of vibrant colored powder. But by 8:30 p.m., the festive mood changed. Fire suddenly burst, covering the main stage. The fire lasted 40 seconds and burned 508 people, killing 15 and leaving 199 in critical condition. But what caused this terrible fire? Were there hidden dangers hiding in the main part of their celebration? This is the harrowing tale of the Taipei Water Park Fire. Formosa Fun Coast, nestled in Bali district of New Taipei, Taiwan, was a bustling beacon for thrill seekers. Its poetic Chinese name, Baxian Haiyan, beautifully translates to 8 Immortals Paradise, or perhaps more freely, as Many Immortals Paradise. Over time, this beloved park etched its mark as a sought-after destination, beckoning both the local Taiwanese and travelers from afar. The reason wasn't just the array of rides or the scenic beauty, but the vibrant events that it hosted, turning ordinary evenings into extraordinary memories. One such event that stood out was the Color Powder Party, a sky filled with dazzling rainbow-hued clouds, as if painted by the brushstrokes of the gods, and beneath it, a sea of jubilant faces smeared with a spectrum of colors, dancing and reveling in joy. This surreal vision finds its roots in the age-old festival of Holi in India. Holi, often celebrated with passion in Nepal, India, and wherever the Hindu diaspora has found a home, is a jubilant ode to love, happiness, and the timeless tale of good triumph over evil. During Holi, streets turn into arenas of playful battles where colored powders become weapons of love. The inspiration from Holi was beautifully incorporated into Taiwan's Color Powder Party. The genesis of this cultural blend began in Siziwan, Kaohsiung City, in August 2013. As anticipated, it was an instant success. This wave of enthusiasm caught the attention of Color Play Asia, the ingenious company behind the Siziwan event. They envisioned an even grander celebration at Formosa Fun Coast. Their call to color was heeded by many. The park saw a blend of participants, from local Taiwanese enthusiasts to intrigued visitors from mainland China, Japan, and beyond. It was a confluence of cultures, making the gathering not just a party, but a global festivity. One of the coolest parts of the party was how they spread the colored powders. Mechanical giants stationed on stage would powerfully spray the audience with vibrant colored cornstarch powders. You could tell the Color Powder Party was a place where the magic of the ancient Holi festival met the modern fun of a dance party. On that fateful evening, as the clock neared 8:30 p.m., the party was in full swing. The crowd, mostly full of young adults, were dancing and having the time of their lives. They stood near the stage, some even ankle-deep in the powder, as more and more was blown into the air, covering them in a vibrant blanket of color. But then, in just a split second, the unexpected happened. A massive ball of flame erupted from the stage. As an onlooker captured in a video, a huge fireball consumed the stage area. This was not part of the show. The very powder that was bringing so much joy became the source of a terrifying fire, burning many who were close to the stage. It raced along the ground, burning mostly the legs of the dancers. The fire was fierce but short-lived. Even though it was quickly put out, the scene it left behind was horrifying. Young people, who just moments ago were dancing, now lay on the ground, some still with flames on them, screaming in pain. Brave partygoers who were not hurt rushed to help. Some of the injured tried to find relief from their burns by jumping into the nearby pool, while others ran in panic. There was chaos everywhere. With such a high number of injured, there weren't enough ambulances to take everyone to the hospital. Some were carried out on inflatable rubber rings and dinghies. Helpful citizens even used taxis to get the injured to hospitals. Thankfully, help arrived quickly. News about the disaster spread fast, and soon, the army joined the rescue efforts. The injured were taken to over 50 different hospitals in the area. there were about 500 people who were injured, out of which 15 people died. Most of these were young students who were just starting their summer vacations. Many suffered severe burns because they were wearing light clothing due to the hot weather and being at a water park. Some had burns covering up to 80–90% of their bodies. A few foreigners who were injured were later flown to their home countries for more medical treatment. No one could have imagined such a tragic turn of events at what was supposed to be a night of celebration and fun. 1 second, everything was fine, and, in the blink of an eye, there was death and destruction. The media covered the event extensively. Newspapers, TV channels, and online platforms told the story, ensuring the public was informed. The wide media coverage is what played a big role in help coming swiftly. It even led to calls for skin donations as many burn victims needed skin grafts. In the wake of the tragic event, New Taipei City's mayor, Eric Chu, swiftly took action, ordering the immediate closure of the water park for a thorough safety inspection. He was determined to uncover what had gone amiss. Premier Mao Chi-kuo echoed this sentiment, putting a halt to all colored powder events until their safety could be guaranteed. The weight of the tragedy was heavily felt by the event's organizer, Lu Chengqi. Overwhelmed with remorse, he publicly apologized. In a show of solidarity, international support poured in. China's Taiwan Affairs Office extended its condolences and generously offered assistance, including skin donations for burn victims. Aid wasn't just limited to neighboring countries. Skin donations were sent from as far as the United States and the Netherlands to tend to the injured. However, a pressing question loomed in everyone's mind. What caused this catastrophe? Determined to find answers, investigators meticulously examined every detail. A leading theory suggested that the ignition could have been from a cigarette that was thrown away or from another minor spark. The colored powder, which was, as earlier mentioned, primarily made up of cornstarch, possesses flammable properties, which can be lethal especially when densely concentrated and exposed to heat. And what's even more surprising was that the powder packets contained this very warning, which seemed to have been overlooked by the event planners. But that wasn't all. The fire department leaned towards another theory. The blaze was potentially a result of the powder coming into close proximity with intense stage lights. Some experts voiced their concerns, deeming the entire event setup a potential fire trap, particularly since smoking was permitted. Evidence of this came in the form of numerous cigarette butts found at the site after the incident. By October 2015, a dedicated committee was established to oversee the distribution of funds generously donated by empathetic individuals worldwide. Compensation varied based on the severity of the injuries. Families grieving the loss of loved ones were also granted a portion of these funds. However, soon enough, and as expected, legal ramifications followed. While the park owners evaded blame, Lu Chengqi faced legal consequences. He was convicted and sentenced to 5 years of incarceration. Additionally, the park's senior management was directed to pay significant compensation due to the tragic event. And in the wake of it all, an overarching sentiment prevailed. There needed to be strict measures that must be implemented to prevent a recurrence of such a devastating incident. Safety at events like these became very important. Now the general masses realized that throwing colored powder, which was actually made from cornstarch, could be very dangerous. It's important to reiterate that even though the powder's package had a warning implicating that it could catch fire very easily, the organizers didn't see it, or maybe just didn't understand. And so, because of this, new rules were made about how to use these powders safely. They also made sure that things like stage lights, which might have started the fire, were used properly. While life moved on, the memories of those affected remained etched in people's hearts. Communities came together to hold memorial services, honoring the lives lost and injured. These gatherings, though draped in sorrow, reflected a resilient spirit and a collective commitment to ensuring such accidents never recur. The journey to recovery was long and arduous for the survivors and their families. Beyond the physical scars that lingered, the psychological impact of that fateful day weighed heavily on many. Some survivors spent prolonged periods in hospitals, battling not just physical wounds but also haunting memories. Families grieving the loss of their loved ones faced an irreplaceable void. For them, the shadows of that day cast long and enduring silhouettes on their lives. What do you think about this tragedy? Let us know in the comment section. Take a moment to like and share while spreading the message to a wider audience to ensure that such a tragedy does not recur.